If you're on a GLP-1 and the scale is dropping, but you're starting to feel weaker, here's what might be happening. Not all weight loss is the same. And with anything like GLP-1s, gastric bypass surgery, the sleeve, or even a severe calorie restriction without these tools can lead to muscle loss. And I see this in my office too often. In this video, we're going to talk about why you might be losing muscle, what signs and symptoms to look for, and how to avoid it if possible. You may have heard that these medications by themselves cause muscle loss, and in my opinion, I don't think that's actually what's going on. I think these medications are very powerful in reducing your appetite, and with any significant reduction in appetite and intake of calories overall, you always risk muscle loss. A significant amount of your weight loss can be from muscle loss, and that is the last thing we want when it comes to your overall appearance at the end, how you feel, your energy, your strength, your stamina, and your ability to sustain this lower body weight and the longevity of your health overall. When you're losing muscle mass, some symptoms that you might be experiencing could include fatigue. You're noticing going up the stairs is harder, maybe your cardiovascular ability or your ability to participate in shoveling snow or going outside and playing with your kids or going upstairs, maybe even carrying the groceries becomes harder. That's your perceived exertion. How hard it is, it just feels harder. The other thing is you actually can see muscle loss in your body. This might be kind of confusing because your body is changing overall. You're losing fat mass as well, but what I see in fat mass loss and muscle loss is you might see the clavicles more protruding. You're going to see more of a sunken look in the chest. You might see more of that cap of the shoulder, but it's the cap of the shoulder bone and not the cap of the shoulder's healthy muscle. You might see losses here or even maybe some sunken eyes, or your cheeks are going to look more sunken. You can notice this when we look at people who are aging or people who are going through chemotherapy or have lost a lot of muscle mass due to health conditions. We're going to see this. You don't have a health condition causing this. You have a potential medication and intake mismatch that might be causing this. So how does the medication cause weight loss? The medication, as I've said in previous videos, and what I say to my clients is the medication is a tool. It helps us because it reduces our appetite, it reduces inflammation, it can help with blood sugar regulation, and it reduces the food noise and food focus. They really are miraculous drugs. But just like things like gastric bypass and the sleeve, when your appetite is really low and you're not able to get in enough calories, meaning your calorie deficit is too significant, your body signals, we need to take the muscle mass as well as the fat mass because this is going too quickly and we need to make sure that we survive. So one of the biggest things, and it seems counterintuitive when it comes to taking GLP-1s, is too much of a calorie deficit. This can happen with the initial onset of the medication. It can happen when you have dose changes. It can happen even when you have been stable on the medication for quite a while. Your appetite is just not enough to meet your metabolic need that your muscles need to continue to survive. The other thing is if you are not strength training to tell your body, hey, we need to keep this muscle. This is very important to us, signaling, yes, it's still in use. Your body's going to see it as disposable. It's going to get rid of it, just like it's going to hopefully get rid of body fat. One more thing to consider, and I've talked about this in previous videos, and it's included on my GLP-1 cheat sheet as well, which you can get in the link below. You might not be getting enough protein. And I know when your appetite is lower, sometimes the last thing you feel like eating is protein. I get it. And protein itself can help to reduce your appetite as well. It also takes more energy than the other macronutrients to digest. So protein is kind of expensive to your body, but you need to maintain an adequate amount of protein intake if you want to preserve the muscles and to have good energy and to feel good. Protein is involved in other processes. It's involved in our hair, our skin, our nails, other metabolic processes all over our body to make sure that we remain healthy. You might see along with muscle loss, maybe your skin isn't as shiny. Maybe you're feeling a little more dull. You're going to see significant hair loss. That can also be a sign of inadequate protein intake, but also not enough calories or too big of a deficit. So let's go back to strength training for a second. I know you've probably been working out or gone through a period of working out in your life in a way to lose weight. Maybe you don't have a good relationship with working out, but what I hear over and over and over again in my office, or what I've noticed, is people may have a really good working out routine. They may go to the gym. They may value being fit or going to the gym, but they live in larger bodies. Once they get on this medication, whether it's Ozempic, Wegovy, Zepbound, or Mounjaro, or any of the new ones that I'm sure are going to be coming down the pipeline, they start to rely on exercise less. They go, well, I'm not eating as much, and this is able to solve my problems. This medication is able to make me eat less, and so it's less important to me that I work out. I was working out to lose weight. This is working for my weight loss. So why would I continue to tax myself? And it's really unfortunate that we have created that relationship with exercise as a means to weight loss, because exercise is so much more than that. So what I find is my clients oftentimes will lack enthusiasm about going to the gym. Maybe they don't have enough energy to go to the gym because they're not eating enough calories, they're not getting enough protein, and there just isn't as much of a buy-in to go to the gym because they don't have that investment in thinking it's going to affect their weight. But it does affect your end appearance and your quality of life at the end of this journey. When you reach a lower body weight, you want to be able to function. You want to be able to feel good in your clothing. You want to be able to maybe reveal the muscles that you had worked so hard for so many years. You don't want to feel deflated, Ozempic butt, Ozempic face, or just looking malnourished and cachectic, which is like cancer patients or, again, gastric bypass patients sometimes, unfortunately. That is not necessarily the physique that I'm assuming you're wanting to go for. And so we need to make sure to preserve the muscle mass. The other thing is our cardiovascular health, our fitness, and our muscle. All of the muscle that we have in our body is going to help us live longer. It's going to help us be healthier at an older age. And it's going to decrease your risk of osteoporosis, osteopenia, bone loss, falling and breaking a hip when you're older. It helps with stability. Many, many, many processes. Our muscle really is related to our health. And so a lot of my clients are actually, before GLP-1s, maybe in better shape. I apologize for the snowplow, if you can hear that. Many of my clients are in better shape before they go on a GLP-1 in a larger body, but they don't see that, they don't appreciate it, and they don't think that they're in good shape because solely they're in a larger body. And that's just not the case. We want to keep all of the hard work you worked for and also lose some of the body fat. So that's where it comes down to, like I said, strength training, exercise, consistent exercise, making sure that your calorie deficit is really small. It's moderate. It is not a significant calorie deficit. And making sure that you're getting enough protein as well as other nutrients, of course. If you have questions about this, you don't know how many calories you need, there's a calorie calculator I can leave in the description that I use sometimes. It can be, I have a metabolic cart in my office where I can actually test people's metabolism through oxygen and CO2 exchange. The calculations on this website oftentimes are close to what I'm getting actually in my office when we're testing it. And so I would recommend this website. It's something. I don't know if it's .net, but I'll leave it in the description box below. And then also, again, my cheat sheet, completely free. It's going to give you recommendations on protein sources, calories, navigating nausea and side effects, and all of the things that I really see important. I practice with all of the clients who come in to see me that are on GLP-1 medications or starting GLP-1s. They all get a copy of this. One last thing to consider about protein itself is oftentimes when my clients describe the ick that they get, oftentimes my clients will talk about the ick. I'm sure, you've probably read about it on Reddit or heard it from somebody. They just describe this like, this ick feeling to certain foods. I find usually it's protein. It's certain kinds of protein. It might be Greek yogurt, it might be eggs, it might be even chicken or something, fish or whatever it is. It can be increasingly harder to have an appetite or to find protein foods appealing and desirable when you're on these medications. And so it just makes it even harder to get in enough.